Hi, Larry WD0AKX. I recently put up some shelves in my three-season patio out here, kind of to collect all my gear into one place. This is all the stuff I'm not really using, just on display, and I decided to take all the things like this that I wasn't using out of the shack and out of the house. It was kind of scattered in some different rooms and that, and just put up some shelves and get it all together in one spot. A lot of it's not really worth a lot of money or anything like that. Some of it's some things people were going to toss out or something, and they just gave it to me. And a lot of these older radios I restored or got working again. So it's things that I'm really not using at the present time or just in my collection. I decided to put it all together. So I'll just give you a little peek here of what I got. Some of this you've probably seen before in previous videos, but some of it I'm sure you've never seen before. So dates, some of it from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, but most of it is more recent, 50s, 60s, and a lot in the 70s, that type of thing. A lot of CB radio equipment and scanners and some ham transceivers and transmitters, things like that. So let's take a look. Well, to start with, this is an oscillator, code practice oscillator, very similar, same model as the one that I was taught the code on back in the mid-70s. And here we have a 3-dialer radio from about 1925. I picked this up one time at a flea market, and above that is a radio direction finding unit here, Bendix, and some panel meters. I have a lot of panel meters scattered around here. Then you'll see some desk mics and some more panel meters behind that. And then we have several Bearcat scanners and unit in Bearcat, and several of these I'm sure you've seen before. Many of those are from the 60s and 70s and up into the 80s here, and maybe even 90s possibly on some of these. But several scanners. And you'll notice a homemade scanner there and a Regency scanner. Then we have a Hallicrafters S38C and a Heathkit HW8 QRP transceiver. And I have a lineup of AM broadcast band radios from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Most of these I have restored and got working. They're just radios people gave me over time. Here, this one on the end has shortwave band on it. And this radio is from the 40s. And then we have an RCA radiola from about 1946. I took some liberty on the paint job there. Kind of got creative. And a cabinet from a radio my grandparents had back on the farm. And the radio at the bottom. Probably not worth fixing. And then we'll move on to some CB base station radios here, the Realistic Navajos, a Courier, and some other realistic models, and an SBE Console 2. And then we have the E.F. Johnson Messenger 250, commemorating the 50th anniversary of E.F. Johnson Company at the time. I may be doing some future videos on this one. I have some work to do. And take a look at this radio. Let's have a look inside. This looks a little different, don't it? Let's open this thing up here. Oh, as you can see, it's a drawer. I just got a little creative there. Put a couple knobs in a paint job. So it kind of fits in here, don't it? I just use that to store some related supplies here. And then you'll see a WSM model tower there that I made out of scrap at one time. And we have a Ray Jefferson radio direction finding radio, missing the loop on top, and a Cityphone SS CB radio out of the early 1960s. And then we come across a couple of E.F. Johnson Messengers, a white-faced Johnsons, or Johnny Ones they call them. Notice a banana mic. My dad had one of these radios as a base station when I was just a little tyke. Here's a full-page ad from a magazine showing the Johnny One when it was new. Then I have a collection of AM transistor radios here. Just a small assortment, I guess. But there's one special one in the batch here. Notice this one. This is a Philco Ford, and this is the one that got me started in radio. This was given to me as a gift when I was about 7 years old, and I started listening to faraway stations on it, and it's really what got me going in my whole radio hobby and career, I guess you could say. This radio is from about 1971, and it's what started it all for me, and it still works to this day. And here's a couple of Harvey Wells Bandmaster transmitters, ham radio transmitters, and I'm lucky to have one of the matching VFOs here. I don't have a power supply though. And here is a Heathkit VHF monitor radio, and to the right of that is a Utica 6-meter AM and CW transceiver, and look at the chrome on that thing. That's what I like, and a couple Motorola speakers above that, but look at the nice chrome. That was sure a nice looking radio. It does work. I refurbished that. And I have an old phonograph here with some albums to go along with it, and it still does work if you crank the handle. Now let's take a look at some of the CB collection here now, mobile radio CBs basically. I have a few business band type radios on the very top shelf here, some variety of those. And then below that we'll move into the CB radios with mainly handheld radios on this shelf, a lot of realistics. And here's a radio, this mobile E.F. Johnson Messenger 303. My dad used to use those a lot in his tractors and things farming until he moved up to these business band radios above. The Fleetcom 557s. But here you see a lot of realistic portable handheld radios and a Midland and a General Electric way up there in the top left. And then remember the MoCat 40 channel CBs, they're MoCat 40s, and here's a realistic handset style. Now here's a radio, you probably remember seeing these if you watched the show Dragnet or Emergency or Adam 12. These radios here, Motorola handhelds, were seen in these TV shows quite frequently. So these radios were used a lot in the 1960s and 70s, and notice the difference in size between those and a slightly more modern handheld that will do a lot more. To the right of that is a Geneve 2-meter portable radio. In the early 1970s to maybe mid-1970s somewhere, this radio was made. It had the auto patch touch tone pad on it. And you'll notice several wide variety of CB mobile radios here. Some of these I did actually own in the 70s and used them back then, but a lot of these radios were just given to me as parts radios and that, and I add them to the display here. And then we have an E.F. Johnson mobile radio with power pack and portable antenna. It was a mobile radio that could be used portable. And then we have a cell phone from, probably from the 1990s here. And some old telephones that my folks used to have, and I remember using these as a kid growing up. So there you have it. Well, there's a quick look around. Nothing special, but I got everything into one area now. It's kind of fun to look at the display. And once in a while I might pull something off the shelf here to work on or refurbish or whatever. If I do, I'll try to do a video on it. So maybe over the winter here or something, I'll be doing a few things. So hope you enjoyed a little look around here. That's my old collection as I have it out in the 3-season patio area here now. So 7-3, thanks for watching. WD0AKX.